All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. This is what, episode 5, right? Remember?
I think so.
Yeah, this episode. Yeah, this be episode 5 because it would have been. Always get confused because it would have been 6, but then
Yeah.
when I had COVID, we did put. We have one we haven't
But
put out. Need to make some clips of that. Well, we got a
yep.
lot to talk about. So, what you want? You want to start with this week's shows?
Yeah, we'll start with this week's shows. We'll start with Monday Night Raw. It was kind of a show, kind of build for WrestleMania. Uh, some of the highlights that came out of it was Logan Paul is now going to be a tag team partner of The Miz to go against the Mysterios at WrestleMania. I'm not a huge fan of Logan Paul, but he's got 23 million Twitter followers, so I'm sure that's what a lot of that is.
I saw a lot of people online mad about Logan Paul going to be at WrestleMania, but they're smart. I mean, it's business.
Well, some people thought
followers.
Yeah, but some people thought it was going to be Cody Rhodes. They're not going to put Cody Rhodes in them with. I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to bring Cody Rhodes in, but they're not going to put him with the Miz against the Mysterios. It's going to be something bigger than that if he does come to WWE. At least I think so. Another thing was Finn Balor had been away for a while, and he came back and answered the open challenge of Damian Priest for a title match coming up in the next week or two, which I think could be interesting.
That should be a pretty good match.
Yeah, so I wouldn't mind seeing them build a feud up and be that match on WrestleMania. That'd be a good match on there. A real good, interesting thing was Edge issued an open challenge for WrestleMania. During that, he made several different references towards different wrestlers. One of the references was phenomenal, AJ Styles. Yeah. Another reference was towards Cody Rhodes. Another reference was Live Forever, Damian Priest, because that's his motto, Live Forever. So I don't know which way they're going to go there. I originally thought they was going to go AJ Styles, but we'll see. The other kind of big thing that came out was Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins beat RK-Bro in the main event. Real good match. And since they earned a title shot in a 3-way match. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week. I'm a little confused on that. But it'll be the Alpha Academy putting the belts up against RK-Bro and against Owens and Rollins. I don't know which way they're going. I thought they was going to go with Owens and Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Even though they talked about that match and that we'll go to WrestleMania as a tag team, Kevin Owens still did a promo just all over Texas, so keeping that alive. So I don't know which way they're going to go. If they do go with Kevin Owens against Stone Cold, where does that put Seth Rollins? I mean, he's got to have a big match at WrestleMania, so I'm not sure. Raw was a pretty good show. Honestly, all 4 shows this week were okay. I didn't think anything was great this week at all. Okay, moving on to NXT. The first match was Grayson Waller against LA Knight. LA Knight's really over with the crowd, man. He's over with the NXT crowd.
Yes,
Waller pulled it out. Waller got the victory, so they're going to continue that feud probably till that standard deliver show that they're going to have at WrestleMania weekend, I would assume. They started the Women's Dusty Rhodes Classic. Started it, the tag team tournament for the women. I'll be honest with you, the first couple matches I've seen, I wasn't real impressed with. They're using a lot of newer talent, and it's going to take time. A lot of people get upset because they're using some of these newer people, been around for 3 or 4 months. They're only going to get better by being in the ring. I think NXT is going to start turning again. They're talking. I think would be good. But we'll see. I think there's 2 or 3 pretty good tag teams in there, so we'll see what happens with that. Carmelo Hayes continues. I mean, on the mic, he's getting better. Pete Dunne challenged him for a match coming up, I think, next week or the next couple of weeks. Yep. And so I'm excited about that. And Carmelo Hayes I think, got a real good future. And I think Dunne and him would be a good match. Possibly, again, that may end up being at a match they may make for the standard deliver. A new wrestler debuted, Nikita Lyons. She's a pretty good sized woman. been a lot of scuttlebutt on her. Some people didn't care for her wrestling, but a lot of people liked her looks. So, so I don't know. We'll see. That was her first match. I didn't think it was a bad first match, but some people were more critical. Some people loved it. So it was kind of 50-50 split on that. Because either they loved it or they hated it. The other thing was Dolph Ziggler took on Tommaso Ciampa in a #1 contenders match for the NXT Championship, and Ziggler put out the victory with the help of Robert Roode. So Ziggler's going to challenge Braun Breaker for the championship coming up in a future show. So that was NXT. I thought NXT was good. I didn't think it was near as good as I thought Raw was better. I didn't think NXT wasn't terrible, but it was decent.
What did you think of the Ciampa Ziggler match?
I thought it was a real good match.
I really liked that match. I thought that was real good. I think Ziggler and Breaker is going to be good.
Oh yeah, it'll be good because Ziggler and Ciampa are both two guys that could wrestle a broomstick and probably make it good. I mean, they got so much knowledge and they're so good in the ring, and that's one thing I've seen online that they think that Raw and NXT is going to keep sending some guys from Raw down there and some guys on NXT on Raw to get these guys better, and I think that's great. Braun Breaker working with Dolph Ziggler will be a huge help to him. I think just the more he learns, I think will be a big help. The next show was Dynamite. Dynamite was pretty good show. I'll find my paper here. Here it is. They had a qualifying match they're going to have it their big pay-per-view on March 6th. It's the Revolution. They had a qualifier for a ladder match. They're going to have that, and Starks beat he's only having now who he beat. Starks, I watched the match. It was an okay match. It wasn't great. Starks is good. I think he's still kind of coming back from an injury. So I still don't think he's 100%. We'll see where that goes. They had a tag team battle royal. It was decent. Red Dragon, that's Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, who came over from NXT. They put out the Young Bucks at the end to move on. So they're going to be in a tag team title match, a three-way match. So they're going to have another qualifier battle royal next week. And there's going to end up being a three-team match at the pay-per-view.
Who do you think the third team is going to be?
Well, of course, you got the tag team champions. I would say it's going to be because they get a second chance to be Young Bucks. I would assume it's going to be the Young Bucks. The reason I say that,
I figure.
Yeah, that's what I figure it's going to be. So, the House of Black got a new addition. Buddy used to be Buddy Murphy. Now he's called Buddy Matthews. He joined the squad. I don't know. The House of Black really hasn't stand out to me. I thought it would be better than what it is. We'll see where it goes. Next was a couple of we'll go to a couple of promos I want to talk about. But we'll go to the last match. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. It was a real good match. But again, the casual fan, I still criticize. That was your main event. The casual fan is going to turn over. And who's Daniel Garcia?
Yeah.
So I think that they're dropping the ball on that a little bit. But it still was a good match. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan. It was a good match.
They need to build them guys up some before they put them with with Danielson and them guys. So then people know
they've had Garcia wrestle some real good guys, and he's lost to all of them. And then they put him on other shows. I don't think he's won a match on Dynamite or Rampage. Only matches he's won has been on other things. I mean, he's a great wrestler. He's probably one of the best wrestlers that people have never heard of in the business right now. But I understand he's getting a rub. But if you don't beat one of them guys,
yeah,
I mean, it's still not enough build for him. I don't understand it. Next is two promos I want to talk about. Jericho and Eddie Kingston. I thought it was pretty good. I thought Kingston really got the better of Jericho in a lot of ways. But it was pretty good. They're going to have a match at the pay-per-view Revolution on March 6th. It was a good pay-per-view, but a good promo. Next promo was MJF's promo. Did you happen to see it?
No, I haven't seen it. I need to go back and watch it.
You got to go back and watch it because I tell you what, he came out and he's basically starting out doing like a face promo, and he started talking about that when he was a little kid, he was bullied and stuff, and then you could tell. And when he first started, I said, "Oh, here we go, a bunch of bullshit again." He gets about halfway through the promo, and you can tell this is real. And tears coming down his eyes. He's talking about being bullied, and his saving grace was he made the football team, and he thought, man, and he was Jewish, and there was a lot of racism back then and stuff. And he thought, man, I'm gonna have friends now. And he said the first day coming back to school from making the football team, a bunch of the football players were taking quarters and throwing them at him. So he went home crying. And the only saving grace was he knew he was going to go see CM Punk that night. His parents was taking him to see CM Punk wrestle somewhere. And he loved CM Punk. Well, then a year or two later, a few years later, CM Punk quits the business and walks away from the fans and broke his heart and, all this stuff. Well, then CM Punk comes out and asks him, is this real? Said, are you serious? And the crowd starts, they're starting to turn the other way. They're starting to kind of cheer for MJF. And MJF didn't say nothing. He just walked out of the ring and left. So it's kind of interesting what they're doing there. Because I thought it was going to be just another bullshit. And it probably still will be. He's probably still going to be the heel. But I tell you, MJF on the microphone right now, if he was a free agent, I think WWE would pay him. Somebody's going to pay him a bunch of money. He's 24 years old. I'm not saying he's the greatest in the ring, but he's average to above average in the ring. And he can get better. There's nobody. He's just so I don't think there's anybody any better on the mic.
Do you know how much longer he's under contract with AEW?
I want to say another year or two.
Another year. I know he's made it known that he'll go to WWE. He's made it known that he's gonna go where the money is.
Yep. Oh, definitely. But yeah, he's gonna get a big paycheck. There's no. I mean, I don't know if it'll be WWE. I don't know if it'll be.
I think WWE will make him an offer.
Yeah, they'd be fools not to. His age.
Yeah, and he could be. I mean, and he's already over. He has a. I mean, even as a heel, he has fans.
He's so good. I mean, within 5 or 10 minutes of talking, he had over half that crowd. On his side. And I mean, and he could come back next week and get them all pissed off again.
He'll come back next week and probably be all over CM Punk.
Yeah, I don't know when. And one other thing I was going to talk about before we get off AEW, I think if the AEW was smart, and I don't know if the Cody Rhodes thing is a work or not, but let's say he is going to stay with AEW or we're going to go back to AEW. If I was them, I would take Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Moxley and put them in a group of heels. Because right now there's no good heels in AEW other than MJF. Hell, you could even turn the MJF into a monster face.
Yeah.
You go against them.
Yep.
And it would give Hangman Page something to do. Something
kind of like the NWO, but not the NWO. But
I wouldn't say the NWO. You know what I would? People have tried to do the Four Horsemen again, and I would never call it the Four Horsemen. But you talk about how close that would be to the Four Horsemen. 4 guys that could talk, 4 guys that can wrestle. I mean, because Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Windham, Ric Flair, or if it was Lex Luger, all of them could wrestle pretty good. All of them could talk. I mean, they had it all. That was the total package. That 4 would be the total package.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even with Cody, you could put Brandy at ringside with all the guys, and give her some use. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Cody stays with them, that's what I would do. But we'll see.
Speaking of that, speaking of that, do you think it's a work?
I have no idea. If it's I don't think it is, but I don't know.
I don't either, but I could also see it being a work. But I think he's gone. He got upset about something
I think it was over. I think it might have been a little bit of money. I think most of it was his vision of what this was going to be. Khan's took it over completely, and it's become Khan's vision. And uh, and I think that's why he's leaving. Now, if Vince is willing to tell Cody, said, "Look, I'm not going to give you booking power, but if you want to help run NXT and help the younger wrestlers, and I mean, why wouldn't he push?" I mean, there's no doubt Cody Rhodes is in a better place now than he was when he left WWE.
Oh yeah,
He's more marketable, whatever. They claimed that in AEW one of the problems was he didn't want to become a heel because of all the stuff he had to go on behind the scenes with places, and he didn't want to be a heel. I don't think that makes a difference. Look at the Miz. Yeah. He's basically cut John Cena's place and going out doing media stuff and TV shows and doing all this stuff, and he's a heel. But that's another thing. The MJF is kind of, I don't want to say he's the Miz because he's not. He's different than the Miz, but a little bit comparison because the Miz is another guy. He could go on TV tomorrow and they could have a heel jump him and he'd be a popular face.
Yep.
He can pull it off. He can pull off either or. And like I said, he can do all this positive stuff and still be a heel. There's no reason why Cody can do that too, I feel. And the reason everybody wants to know why the fans turned on him, they turned on him because they believe he was trying to be like Triple H or getting in, or John Cena or The Miz getting on TV and doing all these outside projects, and the fans turned on. That's why they turned on.
Yeah.
Okay, next show was Impact. Impact was okay. I didn't think it was real good. I really didn't get into the storylines this week very much. The only real bright spot for me is Deonna Purrazzo. She won an open challenge match against Lady Frost, and she put up the AAA championship, which is the Mexican championship, and she's also got the Ring of Honor championship. She's got 2 belts, and she put up both belts, and she won. She is she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. She was in WWE, but her body type didn't fit. She's low, thick, and she's not saying she's not pretty, but she's not. You would say maybe WWE pretty in Vince's mind, so they didn't use her. But as far as in the ring, I'm not saying she's Charlotte Flair because she's not. She's not that athletic. But her wrestling ability, like ground and pound, submissions, and things like that, are all believable. She's really good. So people need to check her out because she's really good. And the other real girl they got is Jordan Ann Grace. She wrestled Matt Cardona for the Digital Media Championship, the belt she lost to him a few weeks ago in a rematch. She wrestled this past Thursday. She lost, but she's not real tall, probably 5'5", but she probably weighs about 200 pounds. She's real thick. She's strong. She moves well. She sells well. The stuff she did against Cardona looked real. Both those matches we've had have been really good. The other thing that stood out was Eddie Edwards on the pay-per-view that was last Saturday turned on Impact and went with Ring of Honor because he used to be with Ring of Honor, and he addressed that and gave a story of why he went with Ring of Honor. So that was the main things that happened on Impact this week. I would rate the shows this week. A lot of people probably be surprised. I'm going to give, because of the strong promos, especially by MJF, I'm going to give Dynamite a slight edge over Raw. I have Raw 2, I'm going to have Impact 3, and I'm going to have NXT 4. None of the shows was terrible. I didn't think any of the shows was outstanding. I thought they were all pretty decent.
I thought the shows were better last week.
No, definitely.
I haven't got to watch all of it, but what I've watched, I think last week was stronger.
But I think this week, I think a lot of like Dynamite setting up for their pay-per-view. Raw is setting up for WrestleMania. Impact's setting up for their next. NXT set. So it was kind of a stage where they're setting things up. So I think that's part of the reason why.
It was kind of a surprise though, because usually the Raw after a pay-per-view usually is real good.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I liked the matches better on Raw than I did Dynamite, personally, for me. But they wasn't outstanding. And I thought Dynamite had some good matches too. Just the MJF promo put it over the top for me.
I don't know if they would have the money, but wouldn't it be smart for Impact to try to get Cody Rhodes, bringing him there, and then to work with work with the younger guys?
Yeah, it would be, but
I think that. I mean, I think they could grow their company if they would do something like that.
if Ring of Honor's got the money. Their problem has been they've never wanted to do it. They never want to get on a network. They just want to be on. See, that Sinclair owns a bunch of channels, like smaller channels, affiliates, and they put it on affiliates. But the problem with putting on affiliates, they might be on at 2:00 in the morning. They may be on 11:00. So it's nothing that you can get. And some like around here, we don't even get the time. So it hurts. You can't build anything that way. Oh, one other thing about AEW, real quick. Supposedly Tony Khan's got a big deal working. I would assume, and the rumor I hear, we'll see if it's true, that it's going to be a deal for streaming with HBO Max to do a streaming service with them. That's the rumor I hear. We'll see what it is.
Yeah, some people they think he might announce it on Dynamite this week.
Yeah, some people think they might have bought a Ring of Honor. I don't know. So we'll see. Next, let's real quick. You had a couple of things I know you want to talk about, but let's go over Elimination Chamber. Pay-per-view last week. Rey Mysterio beat the Miz, and that's got they kind of tricked him. Rey Mysterio and his son did, and that's why Miz ended up bringing Logan Paul in. So Roman Reigns tapped out Goldberg. I wouldn't say a squash match, but it was probably about 5 minutes long. That's what we kind of thought was going to happen.
I was going to say it was a pretty quick match.
And Goldberg got some offense in, got a couple spears in, but Bianca Belair won the Elimination Chamber match. Most people that I've seen that reviewed the show thought that the women's Elimination Chamber match was the best match on the card. I've seen a lot of places really like it. I liked it too. A lot of people thought the show was C or something. I thought it was a little better than C, maybe a B. Was it my favorite show? No, but I thought it was still a good show. I mean, I liked it. Ronda Rousey and Naomi beat Flair and DeVille. I actually thought that match was pretty decent. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Drew McIntyre beat Madcap Moss. I don't know if you've seen that bump that Madcap Moss took. He was supposed to do looked like he had him up like this and he was going to take him down like that. Well, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he landed right on his head. And I mean, it looked like it compressed his neck. I thought he was hurt bad. He finished the match, and he's supposed to have a match against Drew this Friday on SmackDown, so it must be okay. But it was a pretty good match. Becky Lynch and Lita was a real good match. I wasn't for sure if Lita could stay with Becky Lynch in the ring, but she did. And I tell you what, the fans, as far as the pop goes, them fans, I mean, Becky Lynch left after she won the match, left the ring and left Lita in there because the fans were going crazy over Lita for about 5 minutes. So the fans really love Lita. She put on a good show. And then, of course, the championship match, Brock Lesnar. Of course, Bobby Lashley was injured, so they set up an angle where he didn't even get into the match. They had somebody smash through Lesnar pushed somebody through the thing and supposedly hit him, and he hurt him, but he was already hurt. So, but Lesnar destroyed everybody. He broke out of the thing early and just destroyed everybody. And put on a real good show. It was a pretty good match. Of course, people that hate Lesnar want to hate on Lesnar, and that's not what it should have been. People just want to hate because if the AEW people are going to hate on Lesnar because they wish Lesnar was there. In my opinion, if Lesnar was there, they'd be talking about how great he is. So it is what it is.
Speaking of a bad bump, I was watching yesterday. I watched back the old. I was watching an old match, but I was watching WrestleMania 25 and the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels match.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember when Undertaker took the dive over the top rope and Michaels pulled the cameraman in front, and that cameraman didn't catch him at all, dude. He landed straight on his head like that.
Yep.
It looked. I saw that. I was like, damn it. I can't believe he got up from it. I thought it looked like he broke his neck.
Yeah.
Man, I watched that match, man. That's one of the best matches ever.
Yeah. I really, that's one of my favorite matches. I'll tell you another one I really like. It was just because of the story, not just because of the ring work. Because Flair was, past his prime. But that Flair Shawn Michaels match,
that's one of the
I
best
don't
ones
know.
ever too.
I don't know if you can beat that match. It's hard because of the story. But you
Man,
had a
I'll
few
tell you
things.
what, the crowd was real into that Michaels and the Undertaker match. I mean, every time there was a near fall, I mean, it was. Like I said, I watched it yesterday, but I still couldn't believe he got up. Man, I thought he broke his neck, and I forgot about that bump. But well, speaking of Undertaker, they announced he's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I saw where Bully Ray said that he thinks that should be the only person they induct in the Hall of Fame this year. You agree with that?
It's going to be an hour and a half show. So if you do it, you can't really do more than 2 or 3. And he thinks, and it makes sense to a certain degree if you just do the Undertaker, and instead of having just one person come out, like maybe you have Vince McMahon come out and talk about him, you have Kane, maybe a couple other people. I mean, they could make a show of it, and people would love it. So, I mean, I see it both ways. I mean, like he says, if you do the Undertaker, it kind of foreshadows anybody else being on the show.
Yeah.
So I see that too. So I don't know. Listen to this though. I listened to Busted Open, and I couldn't believe it. Dave LaGreca was bitching because that they're doing that part of SmackDown. Said that should be a separate show. They shouldn't do that with SmackDown. What?
Why?
He said, well, they could sell the ticket. I understand they could sell the tickets, but first of all, what night are you going to do it? I mean, because you got SmackDown on Friday night. You do SmackDown every Friday. You got to do it on TV. So Saturday, they've got WrestleMania and WrestleMania Sunday. Do you do it on a Thursday night? I mean, I agree. I mean, to me, and he said, well, they could easily charge. To me, it's a good deal. You get to go to SmackDown at 8:00, watch SmackDown, and then your ticket includes. I mean, that's a good thing for the fans, is the way I look at it. I don't see what he was talking about how negative. I didn't understand that.
And I think it's smart because you already have your people that's watching SmackDown already on that channel. So you already have a million people or whatever already there.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be on Fox or if it's going to be on, but they can tell people, hey, switch over to Peacock. So I see it as a positive. I don't see a negative in it. And he was talking about being negative. I didn't understand.
I don't see another option other than doing it on a Thursday night, and you're going to get you might get Thursday evening. You'll probably do good numbers, but I think you're going to do better numbers if you do it Friday night right after your show like that.
And you're charging people more money. I mean, they got to look at it this way too. I mean, you having an NXT, which I don't know what they're charging for that NXT. You got the 2 WrestleMania shows. You got SmackDown. Why add another thing for people to have to pay money for?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good thing for everybody.
The WrestleMania experience thing, doesn't that cost money to get into?
I'm not sure if you buy tickets, if that's included or how that works. I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. And I'm excited for that weekend.
I think it'd be a good idea to do the Undertaker by himself because there really hasn't been nobody else like the Undertaker. And like you said, if anybody else you put in there, they're going to get all people's going to talk about is the Undertaker's getting inducted. So they're going to get overshadowed by him. I think it'd be a good idea to do it like that.
I'm not going to say Undertaker was the greatest wrestler. Not that he was a bad wrestler. He was way above average, especially later, not late in his career, but after when he got to be the American Badass, and he started doing more stuff out of more physical stuff and showing more things instead of just being the character. He's the greatest character that's ever been invented. I mean, can you think of another character that's been invented more?
No,
I can't. So I mean, he's the greatest character that's ever been invented, and it came out of the mind of Vince McMahon. Well, the story goes, Vince McMahon called him. Calloway called him because he was supposed to call him, and Mark says hello, and Vince says, he said, "How you doing, Mr. Undertaker?" Called him the Undertaker. He didn't call him Mark. Yeah. He already had, "You're going to be the Undertaker." He already had it set up. So.
Yeah. Well, before that, I can't remember now, but was going to give him some kind of goofy gimmick at first before the Undertaker.
Yeah, that's something. Now, I know Mick Foley had a real goofy one at first. Well, it wasn't as goofy as the name was horrible. the mask was similar, but Mick Foley helped him tweak the mask and helped with the name. Which that's another character. Mankind was a great character. I mean,
Yeah.
but
And with Mick Foley being able to do is just crazy. I mean, Cactus Jack was a great character. I mean, all of his characters he made real good.
yep. Change the subject once and go back to AEW real quick, just for a second. Something came to my mind. I don't understand. Let me see if you understand it. 2 weeks ago, you bring out Keith Lee. Everybody go crazy. They ain't had him back on TV in a match since.
Yeah, it don't make no sense.
It don't make sense to me. I mean, he was all the buzz, and then you just let it cool off. Man, keep that going. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I was thinking the same thing because you heard a bunch about him, then all of a sudden you ain't hearing nothing about him, and you're not seeing him. Even if you're not going to have him in a match, you have to have him doing some kind of promo or something to keep it rolling.
And they're going to sign Jeff Hardy. They're getting ready to sign Jeff Hardy, and they're going to sign some other people. I don't know what.
They're signing too many people. They don't have enough. You don't have enough spots on television to get everybody in.
And then this Brian Cage, who I think is really good, and if it could be a good fit for WWE, he ain't been on TV in 6 months, and their contracts they signed were 3 years. He's got the 4th year and the 5th year are options. So if he wants to keep them, he can keep them. They can't leave. Cody Rhodes had the same thing. That's why a lot of people don't understand. He didn't let Cody Rhodes. He let Cody Rhodes leave. He could have said, "No, you can't go. You're staying here. I don't care if you don't like it here or whatever. Y'all got the option. You're staying." But that's supposedly he did. That Cage hadn't used him for 6 months, and supposedly he's keeping Cage. And Cage got on the thing. Why?
Yeah, why are you keeping me if you're not going to use me?
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's something young talent's going to have to think about that might get a chance to go to AEW is, yeah, you want to get in that company and you want to get your name there, but are you going to get there and them not use you and then you're stuck? Which I think I think they're allowed to do some independent stuff still, aren't they? Don't with some of them AEW contracts, they're allowed to do that. But
see,
still,
that's the thing. I think the people that he signs to exclusive contracts, which is a benefit. I hear they get insurance benefits. That's a good benefit. The ones that he signs to the part-time contracts, they can go out and do a bunch of independent shows and stuff. They don't have that. They don't have that. They're not making near the money. I don't know what they're making, of course. I'm sure it's a decent amount of money to be contracted with them, but they can go out and work any independent.
But they don't get insurance or nothing like that.
See, like guys like Daniel Bryan and Moxley, they can work shows, but they have to get it okay through AEW because they're on a full-time contract. Where a lot of these other guys are not on full-time contracts, and they can basically do pretty much what they want, but they're not making near the money. So the way that he's got it structured, but I don't know. For example, I know you was going to bring up Cesaro left WWE, which didn't make sense to me because I thought a year ago he signed a contract. Before WrestleMania, he signed a contract, and so I can't believe they just signed him for a year. So I don't know what happened there because I thought he was signed, but
and with Cesaro, I still think he could have been a big star if they would have put him. They needed to put him with somebody like Paul Heyman or.
Well, they did, and but I don't think they still didn't do it right.
Yeah, you put him with a good mouthpiece with his ability in the ring. I think they could have made him a lot bigger star than what they did.
I agree, but everybody says he's going to go to AEW. Who you going to put him?
Yeah.
Put him Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, I mean you could do that, but I would rather see the other thing happen than that. I'd rather see what you were talking about putting them four together than to see that.
No.
But from nothing against Cesaro, but from AEW's point, how much is Cesaro going to move the needle by bringing him in?
Chris, I would have thought Daniel Bryan and CM Punk would move the needle more than what. They moved the needle. They moved the needle for a short time, and then went right back down. So
That's what I mean. So is it going to be? Is it really going to be worth AEW to give him a big contract?
I mean, yeah, I don't think so because, but like Billy Ray believed that when CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, that he thought by now that they would be average 1.415 million. They're nowhere close to that. And you brought them two big names in. Who else could you bring? The only other wrestlers I think they could bring in to do that would be Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. I don't think there's another wrestler out there that could bring that. And they want to talk about the Bullet Club in Japan and stuff. Most of them people don't know who they are.
Maybe Randy Orton, if you could get Orton to leave WWE.
Orton, Becky Lynch would be a good get on the women's side. Of course, Charlotte Flair would be a good get.
Edge,
Sasha Banks.
Edge, but you'd have to get him pretty quick because he who knows how much longer he has.
Edge. But there really ain't anybody else.
No.
I would say Seth Rollins. I mean, I think Seth Rollins is a needle mover, but I don't. If Daniel Bryan wasn't, I don't think.
Yeah,
he's going to be.
But another reason I don't think they were needle movers is because the way they used them.
I think it's the booking. I think it's the booking.
If you would have kept Danielson and CM Punk in a storyline from the get go and kept it going, I think the numbers would have went up and stayed up. But I think that what they done, the numbers went up for a couple weeks there, but then they didn't do nothing with them. So, and then people got to the point where, well, they're not going to do nothing with them guys, and they're not as many people are watching.
People want to see these. People think that these wrestling fans who say they're wrestling fans, that they're old time wrestling fans or old school, half of them that say they're old school aren't old school. It's bullshit because old school was about storytelling. Storytelling came first, not the moves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a good wrestling match. And I know we're getting ready to talk about the independent real quick, but I want to go to that for a second because we seen the Rock and Roll Express this past weekend, and we got to go to a seminar and listen to him talk and just show little things about working a crowd and stuff. And it made so much sense. And we watched him do a match and see 300 people in this little building go crazy for the Rock and Roll Express, who probably didn't do but two moves in the whole 10 or 12-minute match that they put on. The fans went crazy. There was better wrestling matches on that show, but none of them got the reaction that they got because they know how to work a crowd and put on a show. So that's what WWE, that's what AEW's not doing. They've got to, if people want to say, well, it's not entertainment, it is entertainment. Wrestling is it athletic? Yes. Is it a sport? I don't think you can call it a sport because it is predetermined. So sports entertainment, yes. Do you have to be a good athlete? I've seen wrestlers that are not good athletes and still can put on a heck of a show in a good match. So, I mean, but just being
you see guys that are turning into stars aren't great wrestlers, but are great at entertaining on the mic.
Exactly. I mean, so personality is something you can't teach. If you got the personality, wrestling is something you could be taught.
Well, perfect example. Look at Enzo. Look how over he was. He wasn't great in the ring. I'm not saying he was terrible, but he wasn't great in the ring. But he had charisma, and he was good on a mic and could get the crowd going.
They said the only time that 205 Live drew ratings was when Enzo was the champion. Bully Ray said he was there. He's seen it with his own eyes. Said all them guys on 205 Live was better wrestlers than Enzo, but Enzo could move the needle because he could talk.
Yep.
And he still could work enough in the ring to work with those guys. So I think AEW's got to get storylines, and they got to get the guys to slow down and tell stories.
Yeah,
if they don't do that, I'm not saying they're not going to make it because I think they're going to make it.
They're not going. I don't think they're going to grow to where they could be.
Yeah, I think they could be bigger than they are right now. They should be.
Yeah, with the talent they have, they should be. But the storylines is what make the moves mean something. You have to, whatever you do, which we learned some more about that, like you said this weekend. But whatever movement you do in that ring, it should mean something.
One storyline on SmackDown, they pretty much draw about 2 million to 2.2 million every episode. One storyline. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns, and insert whoever's going against him, Brock Lesnar, which Brock Lesnar is even a bigger help. But that storyline's been going on for a year and a half, and it's by far outdrawn any other thing in the business because of the storyline, the story.
Yep. Before we talk about the independent, I thought another thing I really liked that I saw was AJ Styles signing another deal with the WWE.
Yeah.
I think he's a great guy to keep around because he can help your younger talent so much.
Well, he done said I seen an interview. He said this is where he wants to be. He don't want to go anywhere else. He hopefully will have a job there. He hopes after his career in the ring's over to teach, and I don't think there's anybody any better to have.
No.
He's worked everywhere. He's been champion everywhere. He don't have a huge. I'm not saying he don't have an ego. I think that you got to have an ego to be good. And I think at one time he was right at TNA. That's why he left TNA, because they didn't think he was as good as what he was. And he left there and went to Japan and all over the place. And that's how he got to WWE, because WWE wouldn't take him from TNA. Triple H tried, and Vince wasn't interested. And he went to New Japan and went all this stuff. And then Vince said, okay.
Well, I'll be honest. I wasn't a big AJ Styles fan until he got to WWE, and I saw it. It was because he came. Was it the Royal Rumble where wasn't he debuted?
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly. Well, then the next week or whatever, on one of them matches, he wrestled Jericho, and that's when I became a Styles fan, because I was like, "Oh, this dude can go." I mean,
well, see, that's the bad thing about TNA. TNA gets a bad rap because they had some terrible ownership and some terrible people running it sometimes. But at one time, man, the talent they had there, they were putting on better matches, as good or better than WWE. They weren't getting the ratings, but I mean, well, they was getting better ratings than what AEW is right now. They were getting 2 million. Of course, WWE was getting 5 million at that time. But I mean, you had Kurt Angle, Styles, Samoa Joe, Sting. They had all kinds of talent.
Well, I remember I used to get those TNA pay-per-views for Austin when he was younger, because he started getting into TNA a lot because of who they had.
Yep.
So we'd get those pay-per-views sometimes, and back then that's when they were like $50. WWE was like $60-$70.
Yeah.
Ain't like now where you can get the WWE network and you get all the pay-per-views included. A lot cheaper now.
Oh yeah. $10, $12 a month. You can't beat it. Well, you can if you want it. You can get it for $4.99 a month.
Yeah.
If you want commercials.
Yep. Then going back to the independent, we went to an awesome show last Saturday night. We also streamed it live. You can find it on our YouTube page at Gonzo Sports Room. But Rock and Roll Never Dies. DCCW put on a heck of a show for their first show of the year.
Yep. If you go back to the last show, it was in October. And this show here, I don't know why the companies put on 2 better shows
back to back like that. I mean, there was a time period, but basically back to back. And they, not only that, I mean, out of all the shows we went to, and we've streamed, I think 12 or 13, 14 live now, somewhere around there. I mean, them 2 shows are right up there with any of the other shows that we've been to.
Yeah. And we've been to a bunch of good shows, and I'm not putting anybody down.
Yeah, we've been to a bunch. That's what I'm saying. We've been to a bunch of good ones, and for them 2 to, and I'm not going to lie, I was excited. This was going to mean a lot to me because of the Rock and Roll Express being there, because I was a big fan, and not just got to get meet him, got introduced to him, got to talk to him outside of the seminar and stuff, which was pretty cool.
That makes a big difference. It does. But what I liked about the card, about the show, was when you looked at the card, and I seen it written down on a piece of paper, I said, it looks like a pretty good card. Okay. Everybody stepped up, man, and then some. I mean, and it may have been because Rock and Roll was in the house, but there's guys that I mean, from the first match to the last match, everybody stepped up. There wasn't a bad match on the card. One guy I'm gonna call out, that Cecil Sabesa.
Yes,
we've seen him about 4 or 5 times, and I'm not putting him down at all. I thought he was a decent wrestler. I mean, I've seen him at WCWO, and what he was doing at WCWO, I thought he did well. On this show, he was doing something a little different, and I thought he looked outstanding. I thought he put on, I don't know if he was on a good night or what the deal was, or playing a different role or whatever, but I thought he was excellent that night. He really stood out to me.
Yeah,
And not that,
I told him that night. I said, because he asked me, he goes, "How was it?" I said, you were impressive. I said, that's the best that we've seen you. And I'm not saying that you were bad before, but
no,
he stepped up that night. And tell you who else stepped up was Dutch Boy Platinum and Logan Myers. They kicked. You couldn't have put on a better match to start to kick that show off. I mean, that was just, it was a great match.
it was a great match. Yeah, it was outstanding. Them two guys that kind of my favorites. You know, they're in the first 12, 13, 14 months of the career. Yeah, you can just see them getting better and better and better. I mean, I think Logan Myers is a real good baby face. I think, you know, Dutch Boy could be either one. He's a heel right now, but I thought he was.
He was good as a baby face, but I'll tell you what, I think he's even better as a heel.
Well, yeah, it's cool going to WCWO and seeing them guys wrestle, and a lot of them guys wrestle for DCCW. And we go to a lot of the shows or we watch streaming of WCWO, see how much better some of these guys. Perfect example is G.W.R. What's the name again?
Hidari.
So I said G.W.R. Hidari. He's got so much better in the last 3 or 4 months. And the match he had with Naptown Nightmare was outstanding. And then you go on the card to the 3-way match for the United States title. You know, of course, that was a great match. Mm-hmm. The champion, I'm trying to remember his name.
Max Sterling was the champ.
And he took on, that was Cecil Cerveza and Party Boy.
JB.
JB's the other one who in the last 3 or 4 months, he's another guy that's in his first year or 14 months, 15 months of his career. And DCCW and WCWO got some of the youngest, best talent in Indiana. I mean, and I know a lot of these guys are branching out and wrestling other places too. I understand that. But a lot of them got their start with DCCW and especially WCWO. And but to me, probably, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was kind of 3 matches of the night in a way. That first match was outstanding. And then, of course, the Rock and Roll Express match with the highlight reel was just, I mean, the crowd went crazy the whole match. But for me personally, for a couple of reasons, the match of the night was the ladies' man, Mike King, and JKO, Joey Owens. But they put it on a war. And not only that, we got JKO, and he is henchman Skullcrusher. Skullcrusher came over to our announce booth and took over the announce booth for probably about 20, 30 seconds. And I thought that was outstanding. So that was one reason that's my favorite also. But the show was great. I mean, all the staff at DCCW and all the people that help over there, whether it's put up the ring, work the concession stands, or security, or help get the word out on social media, or whatever they do over, you know, anybody that helped over there deserve a lot of credit because they put on an outstanding show. First time in the venue over there at the National Guard Armory.
It's a great venue.
Great venue and a great show, and yeah, it was outstanding. And to put up those numbers because there was another show in Muncie that night. Yep. At the same time, IPW had a show I think called Broken Hearts. Go give a shout out to Luke Schleichman and to
Dalton Love.
Dalton Love won the tag team titles over there in the main event over there for IPW. Give them a shout out.
They're actually going for tag team titles tonight in WCWO.
WCWO against the highlight reel. Indiana Tag Team of the Year. So, I mean, they're moving up, and I know they've been with IPW for a while, and I know they've been wrestling a lot of places and been training over WCWO now, WCWO also now, and I know they're getting better, you know, all the time. So, shout out to them guys. I heard IPW put on a pretty good show, and they had a decent crowd. So, I mean, for DCCW to get that crowd, 2 shows being the same night, you know, I think, you know, says a lot too. But of course they had the Rock and Roll Express there, so definitely a draw.
It was kind of cool because I looked up and it was only like a quarter till 6. I'm like, doors don't open till 6. And all of a sudden they went ahead and opened the doors because there was a big line outside in the freezing cold. So they
Yeah, there
said,
was people coming
we
in.
got to open doors, let people in.
Well,
By 6 o'clock when the doors were supposed to open, all the front row seats were already full.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
People were. I mean, people got there early and nobody left. You didn't see nobody leave. I mean, it was a the crowd was into the show. But going back to
and
that JKO Mike King match, they put them two put on a show, and I broke down all the matches and put it on YouTube and Facebook, and that match there has doubled any of the views on any of the other matches, even
really,
more than the Rock and Roll Express and the highlight reel. And I gotta give a shout out to the highlight reel because they done a hell of a job in that in that match against the Rock and Roll Express.
yep, yeah, because I mean, these are guys that probably are used to kind of putting their matches together. You know, with I'm not saying they're top tier, but they're tag team champions. A lot of places they work with people. This was ones where Rock and Roll Express probably put the match together. I'm sure they had input also, but they went out there and there wasn't a flaw. I mean, you could have thought these guys have been working together forever, and they just met that day at the seminar, because they highlight reel was at the seminar. So I mean, yeah, anybody didn't go to that seminar, they made a mistake because it was outstanding.
It was worth that. It was worth every dime that I spent to go to it.
I agree. And also, before I forget, I want to give a big shout out to the Rock and Roll Express. I was so impressed how they handle and deal with people. Whether it was people going up to sign stuff, and I know they're making money off people signing stuff and things, but there wasn't a person that couldn't get something signed. There wasn't a person that they wouldn't shake their hand. If anybody went up to them and shook their hand, I mean, I think Ricky Morton shook everybody's hand in that place.
Oh,
Give
they
them
were
and shook
both,
hand.
and not only that, they were both real personable too. I mean, they would shake your hand, talk to you. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, we had the opportunity to get to talk to them some before the show and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them are great guys. They're
Yeah.
they're funny. They're funny, but it was
They're
a
old school.
great experience getting to know them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely old school. And yeah, it was a great show. And I want everybody to go out there and support independent wrestling. I don't care where it's at. We have lucky enough to have a couple companies here in Muncie. No matter which, I know people have got alliances either way. Hey, we're just fortunate to have two companies, and hopefully the shows will be on different days most of the time, and people can go enjoy whatever show they like, or both shows, if they're being on different days. So, but yeah.
And if you're a younger guy that's looking to get in the wrestling business, even if it's not as a wrestler, it could be announcer, anything.
Referee.
Referee, anything. If you don't, we got a great place here, I think, with WCWO. But if you live more down south, go check out School of Morton.
Yep.
He has. I mean, they put on live shows every week. They do production. They do everything. And I mean, he talked some about it. It sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But if you're around the Indianapolis area, hey, if you can get to the WCWO, I recommend going there as well because Jake Omen and Joey Owens do a great job over there with what they got going on.
Oh yeah, and it's a place that you'd get the opportunity to wrestle on Friday nights, and they help book you other places, and they train you and they teach you, and
it's a family.
It's family. It's a class you graduate from, and then you can stay around if you want to stay around. It's not like you're there for a year and then you got to leave. That's on you. But I mean, yeah, it's a really cool.
He just started another training class Sunday, and from what I hear, I think he filled all the spots to capacity. So,
yeah,
I mean, and we've seen some of the class he already had going, and so I mean, there's going to be some more good talent coming up out there that people don't know about yet.
And just real quick, on DCCW, the next show is going to be in April. And if I remember right, Chris, it's on the 15th, I think Saturday.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's the 15th.
15th or 16th. I know it's a Saturday. It's either the 15th or 16th, whatever that date falls on.
Actually, I think it's the 16th.
Okay. So, yeah, it is. It is the 16th. Saturday, April 16th. So not exactly sure where the venue is going to be yet, but they'll be announcing that very soon. It'll either be at the Armory or possibly with Muncie Central, because it's going to be a fundraiser for Muncie Central Wrestling Club. It's going to be the Bearcat Rumble 2. So that'll be coming up in April. And then I know also the next show after that is J County Invasion 3. And they're still waiting on the final word where that venue is going to be. It's been at a couple different places, wherever they can get it in J County. So, but I know that's going to be on the 14th.
I think one year they actually didn't. One year they do it here in Muncie.
I thought both times J County.
Was it for some reason? I was thinking one year they done it at Mad Jack's. Maybe I was thinking of a different show.
So, and then I know I don't remember the date, but I want to say it's June, maybe the 18th is their June show. And it's going to be a free show over at McCullough Park
for the Juneteenth.
And if I remember right, it's Saturday, the 18th of June.
That show last year was awesome. I mean, they set up right there in the middle of the park, and you had the festival going on, and then all of a sudden it was like everybody just around the ring and was watching. It was pretty cool.
And also the shout out to the festival that they did last year. And I mean, I know some of the same people running it, maybe some different people coming and run it this year. But last year they had free food, hot dogs, hamburgers for people to eat, and chips and drinks and everything. And they had plenty for people to eat. They had giveaways, and they had all kinds of different things for kids to do. Plus that wrestling show. It was a real cool event. So definitely some people in Muncie. I mean, they had a good crowd, but there should be more people taking advantage of it. Really should. So I like for people to think about that.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched Rock and Roll Never Dies DCCW, check it out on our YouTube page. It was a good show. Did have a couple of little internet issues, but I think we'll have that fixed by the next time we're at that building. But we do have we're going to be live this Sunday, but that won't. Time this comes out, it'll be too late. But
if they watch the show Sunday at 9, they might see it.
Yeah, if you watch this, so if you watch the show early enough on Sunday, we're going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern for Warrior Pro Wrestling WPW 6, and they have a stacked card for that. It'll be a great show. We'll be live on YouTube and Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room.
It's going to be the first time we're going to be there. We haven't been there yet.
We're supposed to have been there, but I ruined that.
Yeah.
But next Sunday, we're going to be at Summit Pro.
Yep.
And last time we went there, it was a real good show. I think this is going to be a real good show as well. We're going to get to see some guys we haven't seen before. Yep. And from Muncie, Dalton Love he's on that card.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's going to be a good card. Doors open at 3 for that. It's in Greenfield, Indiana. Wrestling starts at 4, and we'll be streaming that show live as well on YouTube and Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room. So check those out. Support these guys. I mean, hey, a lot of these guys, they're just trying to make gas money to get to their next show.
Also, before we get out of here, we've been promoting this. We haven't done it yet, about the top 10 tag teams. So anybody out there, if you watch the show, listen to the show, you can find Chris on Facebook, different platforms, and just shoot in your top 10 tag teams. We'll definitely do it the next podcast.
Next week. So we need to have everything. If you're going to send them in, we need to have them sent in by next Friday, which would be the 4th.
Yep. Friday 4th by probably noon, we'll say. Yep. Will be the cutoff. We've got quite a few wrestlers, top 10s. We probably got 15, 20 people already. We're going to try to get some more.
Got some wrestlers, got a couple fans.
Whatever you think the best top 10 in wrestling of all time. There's no wrong answers. You put on there who you feel, and we just thought it'd be cool to find out what people's taste in wrestling is and who they like and stuff. I've seen some of the lists. A lot of them are pretty cool. So
another match we did real quick before we get out, we didn't talk about, but it was a great match. Was Jordan James and Rachel Armstrong.
Yep.
They put on a heck of a show there in the middle of that card.
Yep, I agree. Give a shout out to the debut guy. Came back. He hadn't wrestled for a few years. He was injured. Of course, I'm not going to remember his name. He wrestled
Crossroads Demon.
We happen to know that guy. We didn't realize it at the time, but He had coached in one of our baseball leagues years ago, and he made his debut with DCCW. Had a good debut. Got injured a few years ago and hadn't wrestled for I think 3 or 4 years, but made his comeback and
He
had
took
put
on,
on pretty good
took on a tough opponent.
opponent for a comeback. I tell you, Jackson Morgan is tough as they come. So that was a tough one.
And I want to say this because somebody else had said it, and I agree 100%. I think it was the ladies' man Mike King might have said it Monday on the DCCW and Kundal Corner that we do together. These these promotions out here I think are overlooking what kind of talent Jackson Morgan is.
Oh, I agree.
We should be seeing him on more shows than what we see him on. I think he's real good at what he does, and I think it's entertaining. I think he should be at more promotions.
He's got a good character, I think.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was Mike King that brought that up on Monday about it.
Yeah. I mean, we see these guys a lot in WCWO. We of course see them at DCCW, and there's not any bad talent.
Oh, and just look how much all of them have improved from what 5-6 months ago when we started doing the wrestling.
Perfect example. WCWO, they did a Rookie of the Year. Rachel Armstrong won Rookie of the Year. Okay, and very deserving. Not saying it wasn't. The other people in that category was JB, who in most promotions could have been a Rookie of the Year. Then you had Dutch Boy Platinum, and most promotions would have been Rookie of the Year. Then you had Logan Myers. Most promotions would have been a rookie. So you had 4, in my opinion, all 4 Rookies of the Year. I mean, that's how good these guys are.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was just 4 rookies there. That I mean, they're as good as some of the talent that I've seen that's been wrestling at other promotions, and I'm not going to say names because I'm not saying any of them are bad. I'm not saying that. Yeah. I'm saying the level that they are in 14 months is better than some of these people that's been doing it for 4 or 5 years. That's the schooling that they've got, and that's how hard they've worked. And I'm not putting anybody down. I mean, I don't want anybody to take it that way. That's just how good these guys have gotten, at their craft, and they're working their butts off to get that good. And they all 4 should be getting booked. And like you said, Jack should be getting booked a lot. Hopefully, he will.
And what was it? Oh, I know I was going to say the first show when we started doing that we streamed live was last August. So we haven't even been streaming these shows live for a year yet. And if you look at the improvement of all the people that we've seen from now to then, it's remarkable. I mean, if you look at the first time we saw JB to now, it's not even the same person.
No.
I mean, in 6 months, it's just crazy to me how fast these guys are improving.
Well, if I remember correctly, Chris, we seen Logan Myers and Dutch Boy wrestle each other early on. Yep. And then we just got to see them again. And not to say that the other match was bad. It was a good match. But this was
actually they wrestled each other on the first show very first show that we broadcasted. Yeah. That Summer Shakedown. And it was a good match, but this match they put on at this last show was way better than that one.
Yeah.
And not just in DCCW and WCW. Dalton, look how much Dalton Love and Luke Savage have improved since the first time. Yeah. Well, first time I seen them was on video, but then we went and watched live once. But I mean, if you see the improvement they've made, I mean, and they've also been going to WCWO to train as well.
Get some extra training,
yeah. But that's what you gotta do. You gotta get, to me, just from what we've been around in independent business. If you're a guy that can't work with other people, you're not going to succeed in the independent business. You need to be able to network and build relationships with all these different organizations. For one, it's going to get you booked more, but for 2, you can learn from these guys.
Yep.
If you're just if you just stick at one place, you're not going to improve because you get comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because I think it's good to be loyal to the place that got you started. I'm not never saying somebody said, you should leave. I mean, that's on them and whatever they do or don't do. You know, it's your relationship with that place and how it goes. But you definitely got to branch out and go other places. You know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong saying I'm gonna
Oh,
be loyal
that place
to
can still be your
just,
home
just
promotion,
say
and you can still go back there and do shows.
just use DCCW for example. You know, and let's say Rachel Armstrong, just throw her out there. You know, if she wants to say I'm gonna do every DCCW show that they have. I'm booked for you. Every show you do, I'm booked. Cool, that's great. You know, she's loyal to them. And then but that don't mean that should be the only show that she does.
Yeah, go, yeah,
She's got to get out there and to get better. So yeah,
and it's
just
the only way to
using
get your name out there. Because if you're just stuck at one show all the time, the same the same 100 to 200 people are seeing you every show.
well,
So
and see that's
if you go wrestle somewhere else, that's a whole other set of 200 people that haven't seen you before.
well, that's I know that's a thing that Dalton and Luke, because we know both them guys, and that's something they've started doing in the last few months. They pretty much worked most of the time for IPW for a while, but now as they've gotten better and they've went out to other promotions and put their name out there, and I know they've wrestled in Ohio, they've wrestled other places in Indiana, and they're getting better. You can tell they're getting better. That's not putting down IPW. I'm saying, but getting out wrestling other people, you get better. Same thing with people at DCCW going out. Perfect example, G.W.R is out wrestling all over the place. Perfect example. Dex wrestled in a tournament this past Saturday. You probably remember the name of the company.
AWR.
G.W.R.
I think it was New Blood's tournament. New Blood tournament or something like that.
16-man tournament, and he ended up being the first champion. And I mean, G.W.R is probably one of the hottest properties in Indiana, independent wrestling.
And that's another organization to go check out too. AWR. They put on a good show. I'm looking for. We haven't got to go to one live yet. I'm looking forward to it. But from what I've seen on video and stuff, it looks like the fans are into it. I think it'd be a good experience.
Everything we hear about the place we're going Sunday, War Pro. I've heard nothing but great things about them, and this is going to be like their 6th show. And I heard it's better.
I'm pretty sure that Front Row's already sold out for it as well.
Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of good people. Don't realize how much good independent wrestling is in Indiana, and I'm just talking an hour away, an hour east, hour west, hour north, hour south. You can go.
Yeah.
And watch wrestling.
I'd be interested to see how like independent wrestling in Indiana compares to like independent wrestling in Ohio or
I don't know.
I mean, like surrounding states or I mean, or I don't know how you could like rank it, but you know what I mean? Are we a good? Are we considered a good state for Indiana for independent wrestling compared to other states, or you know what I'm saying?
I tell you, for some reason, I didn't notice on Facebook and I wasn't on Facebook much, but on the internet and stuff, I would check, and I didn't see that many companies before the pandemic. But after the pandemic, it seemed like more and more and more. And a real hotbed for wrestling, I used to see a lot of stuff I would look up in Chicago. Now I know the pandemic hurt it. I don't know where it's at now, but Chicago was a pretty big hotbed for independent wrestling. So
Chicago, Tennessee, parts of Tennessee was pretty big.
But Chicago's a big wrestling town. WWE does well. AEW does really well in Chicago. Like I said, WWE does good there. I mean, it's
Cleveland, which is also up north like that. It's a big wrestling town as well.
Yep.
I'd like to go check out that Warrior Wrestling. Aren't they from Chicago? The one that's going to be here in Indiana in March?
I don't know exactly where they're based because they do shows in Chicago. They do shows in South Bend. They do shows in Cicero, Illinois, wherever that's at. I'm not really sure where that's at. And they're doing that one in Indianapolis here.
Do they do any kind of live stream of their show?
Yes,
they do.
Well, it's on that
Fight TV. IWTV later on.
No, it's pay-per-view Fight.
Oh, it's pay-per-view. Okay.
Well, you got to have the Fight.
The Fight.
Whatever
app.
that thing's called. The FIT app, or you pay so much a month for, you got to have that.
Okay, so if you have the Fight app, you get the show. You still got to pay for it.
I'm not sure.
I'll have to look into that.
Well, put it this way: that March 12th show, Chris, because we have the certain app that we have,
Yeah.
we get it
Okay.
because we've got that certain app we've got. But we'll be at a show on the 12th. So
Yeah. Yeah, because if we weren't going to be at the show, I ain't gonna lie, I'd have probably seen if you wanted to go watch that one because that's gonna be a fun show lot to watch. I mean, it'd be a fun show to go
it's
to.
it's not only that, Chris. I think you pay $100. All them wrestlers. I don't know if you've seen the card. All them wrestlers, you get meet and greets with.
Oh, okay. For $100, damn, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
And it's a good card.
real good card. I know. I remember a couple named Brian Cage, Thunder Rosa, bunch of big names are wrestling for AEW right now. Uh, yeah, it's a real good card. Uh, what was her name? I can't think of her name, and her name's Athena now, but she was a big wrestler in NXT and WWE, and just I can't think of what her name was there. But she goes by Athena now. She just recently got released. I can't think of her name.
Is
You know how
what's
I
her,
am.
is what's her name on there? Ruby.
She might be on that card.
I was thinking for some reason I might have saw her on that card
She
too.
might be. She might be also. They bring a bunch of people in, and they did that show in South Bend. As people did that one in South Bend I told you about,
Okay.
and they had to meet greets and stuff. I know Flying Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah.
is going to be there too.
Yeah, Pillman Jr.
He's going to be there too. And if people go to their website, they've got their whole. They do a show about every month or 5 or 6 weeks, and they've got a complete schedule up for the year, except for their stadium shows. They do some football stadium. I actually think they're like high schools football field, and that'll be in the summer. But they've got a bunch of the shows up. I know they're going to be in Cicero again. They're going to be in South Bend again. But they do. But there's, I think, the first time in Indianapolis, as far as I know, the first.
Yeah, I think it is.
And it's really going to hurt that show that we're going to. I would say the 12th. When you think?
Yeah, I would think so. I hope it don't, but I mean that's a big show to be that close to you.
And plus, I don't think I think the tickets for just if you want to get a ticket for the show, I don't think the tickets are that expensive. I think some of the tickets are only like $20-$25 to go see that talent. So, yeah, I think it's going to hurt that show.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything else before we get out of here for this week?
No, I don't think so.
Don't forget to get your top 10 tag teams in. You can send them to the Gonzo Sports Room social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can send it to me at Chris D. Gonzalez on Facebook, and we'll make sure we get them all. I know we have quite a few already, so hopefully we can get a few more of the wrestlers maybe from this weekend as well.
I've got my list ready. I'm ready.
So we'll do that next Friday. Like I said, when you guys listen to this when it comes out Sunday, next Sunday, which is the 6th, big show there in Greenfield, Indiana, Summit Pro. I believe it's $10 to get in. And man, like I said, the last show we went to there was a great show.
One of the best shows we've been to. So it really was. The last one was. It was like their second show, and it's one of the best ones that we have been to. I think this is going to be the third show because actually the third one, that snowstorm, and it got canceled. Yeah. This will be the third one. So I know the second one we went to, it was one of the best shows we've been to. So it was really good. Greenfield's not that far away.
But like we said, haven't been to a bad show yet, and there's a lot of great talent here in the state of Indiana. So,
yep.
Support independent wrestling, and we will see you guys next Sunday for the 6th episode. Starting to get up there.
Trying to.